The House will come to order. Members, please register. Have all members registered? A quorum is present. The House and gallery, please rise for the invocation which will be offered by Pastor Scott Wall from Capitol Commission in Austin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been asked to include in my prayer for little DJ Daniel, who we're honoring today, a 13-year-old that has been battling cancer and is told he just had a few months to live, and he is still going, and he has been making an impact worldwide, really, and I want to lift him up. I talked to him, and I asked him what he wanted me to pray for. First thing he said was, please pray for all the other children who, like me, have cancer. He didn't say for him, but he was concerned about the others, and I love that. I asked his dad as well, and his dad said, pray for unity in our nation, in our world. That's part of what DJ is trying to do, is just communicate that there are things that are more important than what typically divides us. And when I got done, DJ said, can I give you a hug? And he gave me a hug, and he said, can I give you a bear hug? I said, sure. So he gave me a bear hug, and then he stopped and he said, I actually call that DJ hug. Can I give you a DJ hug? And then he hugged me and tried to lift me up off the ground. He tried to lift me off the ground. But I just loved that. That's the kind of love, I think, that is going to make a difference to somebody that just wants to go around, hug people, no matter who they are, and express that love and concern for others. So please join me as I pray for you, and I also pray for DJ and his family. Heavenly Father, we all know that our lives are but a vapor here on earth, as James says. We ask that you would teach us to number our days, like Moses writes in Psalm 90, that we are given a heart of wisdom and how to use that short time we have here on earth and to know what brings you glory. I thank you for earthly examples of people who have done this and are doing this, that encourage us to walk in such a way similar to my father, who ran the race well and finished last year. And I thank you for DJ Daniel, this young man who has become an example to so many for his faith and his desire to make the most of his time here on earth by helping and encouraging others. Thank you for his family who have cultivated such a heart in this young man. I pray that their efforts and people may be willing to set aside what divides and pursue unity. And as DJ asked, I do lift up the other children that are on DJ's heart that are also battling cancer like him. We obviously ask for healing from you and recognize you are the one who can heal. But please give DJ and his family patience as they deal with one another and all the circumstances they face. Give them wisdom to navigate all this that's still before them. Please help their abounding faith and love that they have exhibited to grow more and more as they impact people and people's lives around the world. Protect them and use them. And let them see with spiritual eyes what you are doing in and through them. And finally, let their example be a model to each of us here to help us to determine what is most important and to let that impact how we live and what we do here in this capital. It's in your Son, Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Will Metcalf of Montgomery County to lead us in the pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, guests in the gallery, please join as we honor our nation and our great state. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to the greatest state in our land. Honor the Texas.
The chair will now hear excuses for absent members. Please excuse Mr. Leach because of important business in the district on motion of Mr. Metcalf. Please excuse Ms. Holt because of an illness on motion of Mr. Hopper. Please excuse Ms. Slauson because of important business in the district on motion of Ms. Hull. Please excuse Mr. Cunningham because of an illness on motion of Mr. Guerin. Is there any objection? Chair is none, so ordered.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Doorkeeper,
Mr. Speaker, I have a messenger for the Senate at the door of the House.
admit the messenger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am directed by the Senate to inform the House that the Senate has taken the following action. The Senate has passed the following measures. HCR 65, Dean, sponsor Hughes, in memory of Tracy Lee Vincent of Longview. HCR 119, Vasut.
Mr. Guerin moves to defer the reading and referral of bills until the end of today's business. Is there objection? Chair hears none and is so ordered. Is Mr. Patterson on the floor of the House? Chair recognizes Mr. Patterson for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, Mr. Speaker, I move to set a congratulatory memorial resolutions calendar for 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 9th.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none so ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Patterson for another motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House grant permission for all committees and subcommittees to meet while the House is in session pursuant to their committee postings or recess motions. For purposes of this motion, committees and subcommittees scheduled to meet or reconvene today upon final adjournment or recess or during bill referral, if permission is granted, are authorized to convene upon adoption by the House of today's adjournment motion.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none so ordered. Members, we do have an announcement. Today is Dr. Allen's birthday. Please join me in wishing Dr. Allen a very happy birthday. Members, please take your seats. We have a memorial recognition. The chair recognizes Mr. Guerin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Members, this past weekend, former member Phil King, who's now Senator King's son, passed away. And I hope that y'all will join me now for a moment of silence to honor Josh King.
Members, please rise and join me in a moment of silence. Thank you, members. The chair is pleased to recognize Dr. Michael McLeod from Crockett as Doctor of the Day. Members, join me in welcoming our Doctor of the Day. The chair recognizes Mr. Harris for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, if you would, direct your attention towards the Speaker's rostrum. Today, we are honored to be joined by some of America's most awe-inspiring heroes. On the dais today, we have with us the lone survivor, Marcus Luttrell, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer, Green Beret Chris Thompson, Naval SWCC Brandon Bryan, Army Ranger Chase Rowan, SEAL Team 6 member Marcus Capone and his wife Amber Capone. And members, I want to tell you about the organization that Marcus and Amber started. It's called VETS, Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions. Amber's the CEO of it now, and Marcus founded the program after he discovered Ibogaine and was at the end of his rope, along with all of the men who are up there on the dais today. There were no other options left. They were ready to exit this world, but Ibogaine gave them a new chance. And so tomorrow, I ask that you join me and everyone on the dais at 4 o'clock in the Capitol Auditorium for a members-only viewing of In Waves and War, which is a documentary about a few of these guys and their whole experience before, during, and after their Ibogaine treatment. And so members, they also have family in the gallery today and other veterans who are here. So guys, if you are here today with our group, would you please stand and be recognized? Members, join me in welcoming these amazing heroes to their state capitol.
Chair recognizes Ms. Campos for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend all necessary rules to consider H.R. 775.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 775 by Campos, honoring the University of Texas School of Public Health San Antonio on the occasion of the National Public Health Week 2025.
The chair recognizes Ms. Campos to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, we are here today to recognize National Public Health Week and the University of Texas School of Public Health San Antonio and the newest addition to UT Health San Antonio family. Through strategic partnerships, education, and innovation, we are closing the gap in healthcare access and outcomes. The UT School of Public Health San Antonio is a bold investment in the future of public health. It will train the next generation of public health leaders, conduct groundbreaking research, and implement real-world solutions to improve the well-being of communities across Texas. The school is a collaboration between the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio and the University of Texas at San Antonio. Under the leadership of Dr. Van Ramshaddad, the school welcomed its inauguration class during the fall of 2024. Congratulations to the Roadrunners. During the annual observation of National Public Health Week, we celebrate the dedication of public health professionals, educators, and advocates who work to protect the health of all Texans. Members, join me in proclaiming April 7th through 11th as National Public Health Week, and let us encourage all Texans to recognize the crucial role of public health in creating stronger, healthier communities. Mr. Speaker and members, I move adoption.
Members, the question occurs in the adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Well done. Bear County, baby. I love that you did so well. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of him for standing here, you know.
The chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 792, making today Jack and Jill Day at the Capitol.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The rules are suspending. Follows resolution. The clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 792 by Reynolds, recognizing April 7, 2025 as Jack and Jill of America Day at the State Capitol.
The chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today we are joined by the outstanding members of Jack and Jill of America. I'm honored to recognize these incredible emerging leaders from all across the state to celebrate Jack and Jill of America Day at the Texas State Capitol. Founded on January the 24th, 1938, Jack and Jill was established to provide social, cultural, and educational opportunities for youth between the ages of 2 and 19. The organization has since expanded to 271 chapters nationwide, representing more than 50,000 families. These proud members are part of the South Central region, which was created in 1952. There are 30 chapters in the Lone Star State, including the Missouri City Sugar Land chapter. Each chapter plans annual programming activities guided under a general 5-point programmatic thrust: cultural awareness, educational development, health, civic, and social recreational areas. Jack and Jill has contributed to promoting and advancing the interests of children, including child development, child growth, child quality of life, child care, and the promotion of children's rights. They were instrumental, Representative Bowers, in helping you and members of the Texas House pass the Texas Crown Act last session, which, as we know, prohibits racial discrimination based on hair texture or protective hairstyles. These amazing young people have a very bright future ahead, and if they would, all of the members of Jack and Jill here in the gallery, please stand up to be recognized. These are our future leaders of America: doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, CEOs. I see a president up there, a vice president. state reps, state senators, you name it, city council members.
The chair recognizes Ms. Bowers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Representative Reynolds. Thank you to Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. I am a proud alum of Jack and Jill. I was born and raised right there at home in the Houston chapter. And as I said earlier today to some of you, when I had the lead at Teen Conference, Houston beat Dallas. Houston beat Dallas. But I represent in Dallas now. So if I have the Houston and Dallas chapters, will you show yourselves and wave your hands? So, and I want to say that I told the youngins today, and I did say youngins, that Teen Conference is when it got fun for me. When I was 2 and I was 5, it wasn't so great. I was getting dragged to those meetings. But Teen Conference is when it got fun, and as Representative Reynolds said, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you for helping us pass the Crown Act, and thank you for the doors knocked every time, anything I asked, for the postcards written. Thank you for doing the work, and thank you for coming to your Texas Capitol to let your voices be heard. We love you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing the great that you will do.
Chair recognizes Ms. Jones.
Welcome, 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 Jack and Jill. I'm welcoming the children and I'm welcoming the parents. For those of you who are not familiar with Jack and Jill, let me tell you, these are children who want to grow up to be productive, law-abiding grown-ups. And I know that I've worked with Houston chapters, one to teach kids who were 5 years old about local government and how to participate and how you pass laws and what we do here in the legislature, which is important. I've worked with older Jack and Jill kids who are about to go to college, and some of whom who were freshmen in college. And what I know is all of you are going to be successful. Don't you let anyone tell you that you're not going to be successful. But I want to thank the parents, because we hear about so many parents who don't pay attention to their children's lives and they're not teaching them how to grow up and be productive. And I want to give a shout out to the parents, because you are teaching your kids what the streets will teach them if you don't. So I want to thank you, I want to welcome you, and I want to thank Melinda Spalding. Are you here somewhere? Melinda? I don't know if she's here or not, but when she called and told me that Jack and Jill was coming and that she wanted for us to recognize them, myself and Rep. Reynolds for the Houston area, we were happy to do it, because we need to be supportive of people that support our children, because our children are our future. Thank you so much. Welcome to your state capitol.
Chair recognizes Ms. Gervin Hawkins.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, I want our Jack and Jill folks to know we fully support you and all that you do across the state of Texas. Young people, simple message: keep on keeping on and doing what you do well. You represent Black excellence, and you truly represent our future. Welcome to your house, the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, I move passage. Congratulations, Jack and Jill. We love you. Thank you.
Members,
God
the
bless you.
question occurs in the adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair is none, so adopted. Representative Bowers moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair is none, so ordered. Members, please take your seats for the ceremony honoring DJ Daniel.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, Colonel Martin of the Department of Public Safety, Chief Shiver of the Texas Rangers, Sheriff Bill Wayborn, and Deputy Chief Chris Daniels and their party are at the door of the House.
Admit Colonel Martin, Chief Shiver, and the Texas Rangers, Sheriff Wayburn, and Deputy Chief Daniels and their party. The chair recognizes the Honorable Charlie Guerin of Tarrant County for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider H.R. 797.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, and the rules are suspended. The following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
Resolution, whereas DeVar J. DJ Daniel is visiting the Texas State Capitol on April 7, 2025, and this occasion provides a welcome opportunity to recognize the passion and determination of this exceptionally young Texan and honorary law enforcement officer. And whereas a native of the Houston area, 13-year-old DJ first became interested in police work after officers assisted his family during Hurricane Harvey in 2017. He was diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer the following year, and though he was told he might only have months to live, he refused to give up hope. Drawing strength from his religious faith, he endured clinical trials and more than a dozen rounds of brain surgery in the years since he was diagnosed, and he has far exceeded his doctor's initial prognosis. And whereas, in the course of his treatment, DJ began visiting law enforcement agencies, inspired by his fellow childhood cancer patient, Abigail Aris, who has become appointed as the honorary officer by the Freeport Police Department before her death in 2019. In memory of Abigail, DJ set a goal of being sworn in as the honorary officer with 758 agencies, a tribute to Abigail's badge number. He has far exceeded that total and has been honored by more than 900 departments around the country to date. And whereas on March 4th, 2025, DJ attained an even more impressive designation when he became an honorary United States Secret Service agent. President Donald J. Trump announced his appointment during the president's joint address to Congress. With DJ and his father, Theodos, in attendance, DJ plans to continue his mission and hopes to set a Guinness World Record by being sworn in by 1,000 agencies. And whereas through his efforts to raise awareness of childhood cancer and to support law enforcement officers across the nation, DJ Daniel has set an inspiring example of resilience, courage, and selflessness, and the members of the Texas House of Representatives are honored to welcome him to Austin, and now therefore be it resolved that the House of Representatives of the 89th Texas Legislature hereby recognize April 7th, 2025 as DJ Daniel Day at the state capitol and extend to DJ a heartfelt best wishes for the future, and be it further resolved that an official copy of this resolution be prepared for DJ Daniel as an expression of high regard by the Texas House of Representatives.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guerin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today, DJ is on the dais with a lot of law enforcement, some from Tarrant County. My sheriff's office is represented here by our sheriff and the Fort Worth PD, and they're going to swear him in today. We're going to get him to 1,000. Thank y'all for participating in this. I move adoption.
Members, the question occurs in the adoption of H.R. 797. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Representative Louderback moves to add all members' names to the resolution. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. All members' names are added. So, DJ?
This is the second one I got so far.
Where'd you get the other one?
Downstairs.
Awesome. I love it. The chair recognizes Bill Wayborn, Sheriff of Tarrant County, and Chris Daniels, Deputy Chief of Fort Worth Police Department, to appoint DJ Daniel as honorary officer of their agencies.
DJ, how are you? I'm Bill Wayborn.
Good.
Good. Well, it's good to see you. I need you to raise your right hand. Your right hand. There you go. I, and state your name,
I, DJ Daniel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties
the duties
of the office
of the office
of Tarrant County Sheriff.
of Tarrant
County.
County Sheriffs
There you go. And of the great state of Texas.
and of the great state of Texas,
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the constitutions
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of the great state of Texas.
and of the great state of Texas.
So help me God.
So help me God. I hope you know I'm going to give you a fat, juicy hug this morning.
That's it. I'll take it. You're sworn. Here's that. Your badge and ID. And DJ, we're short, so check pen and map and get ready to work.
What you mean short? It looks like I'm the short one here.
Chris.
All right, DJ, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Once again, how many times have you done this?
Wait a minute. What? You got my last name.
That's right, that's right. All right, buddy, you ready?
You sure we ain't related?
We might be. We might be. We're about the same height. Yeah.
What
All
you
right,
mean?
buddy. Raise your right hand. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
I state your name.
I, DeVarjay DJ Daniel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of peace officer
the duties of peace officer
of the state of Texas
of the state of Texas
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the laws of this state.
and of the laws of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, buddy.
The chair now recognizes Colonel Freeman Martin, Director of the Texas Department of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, members, thanks for having us today. We were honored to welcome DJ to the Texas Department of Public Safety family as a state trooper in 2022. And since that time, he has not only been a champion and an advocate for cancer awareness, but also public safety. So he's done many public safety events and social media posts promoting public safety in Texas. And I'm honored to say that earlier today, he was promoted and sworn in as a special agent of the Executive Protection Detail for the Governor's Detail. And so congratulations on your promotion, DJ.
I hope you know I'm the chief of you.
He just reminded me that he's a chief already. So he's a chief special agent of the Governor's Executive Protection Detail. So
Yeah, and I checked the boots, and I can already tell you don't have the professional ones with the patch on it right now.
I'll tell a very quick story. When he was sworn in 2022, the troopers had very shined boots, and he's an advocate for shined boots on trooper uniforms. So if your boots are not shined, he will point it out. DJ is Texas strong. We're proud to have him in the DPS family, and God bless you and God bless Texas.
Hold up, I need to say one more thing. I need to say one more thing.
Thank you, Chairman Guerin, for declaring today DJ Daniels Day. And members, thank you all for being present to recognize this extraordinary young Texan, DJ Daniel. Members, today we have nearly 24 law enforcement agencies, including the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers, several sheriff's offices and police departments from across Texas today, and to recognize DJ as one of their own and get him much closer to 1,000 agencies. To all the law enforcement officers present today, on the dais, in the gallery, and those who will soon swear DJ in their departments, thank you for being here to show support for DJ. And DJ, congratulations, officer. We appreciate you. Members, I also want to recognize DJ's father, Theodos, who is with us on the dais. Theodos has driven DJ across the country so his son can meet his heroes and fulfill his dreams. We have a few more things in store for you both today. First, if James Fenolio and David Fenolio and Justin Powell and Emma Wallace from Fenolio Boot Company would please stand. Members, there's a new sheriff in town, so Fenolio has brought you a proper pair of Texas-made boots that we have arranged to have completely customized just for you. Anything you want, DJ, these people right here will make that happen. Thank you, Fenolio Boots, for being here, and to their state representative, David Spiller, for helping support DJ with an incredible pair of boots to complete his uniform. Members, after we wrap up, DJ will be making his way to the north entrance for another surprise. I invite you and your staff and everyone watching to join us in lining the west hallway on the first floor as we escort the Daniel family to the north steps for a special presentation. You are all invited to attend there as well. DJ, everyone in this room is inspired by your bravery, your humor, your determination, and most of all, your heart. You are surrounded by your law enforcement heroes today, but please know you are a hero to every single person in this chamber. As you go forward pursuing your dream of law enforcement experience, I hope you'll remember that you have the love and support of the entire state of Texas. Let DJ's story be a reminder that we all have within us the ability to face our own challenges with bravery, with determination, and with grace as we fight for what we believe in. DJ, we stand with you now and always. Congratulations on all your works and all of your accomplishes. Members, that concludes our ceremony honoring DJ. You may greet DJ and his family in a few moments at the north steps of the Capitol. At this time, will the Texas Rangers and Chief Shiver please escort DJ and his family to the north steps of the Capitol?
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Canales, for what purpose?
I move that the resolution and all the comments in the celebration of DJ be reduced to writing and placed in the journal.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none, so ordered. Members, the speaker's desk is clear. If you have any announcements, please bring them down front, and do not forget to join us on the north side of the Capitol. Mr. Guerin moves the House adjourn pending the reading and referral of bills until 10 a.m. Tuesday in memory of Josh King, son of State Senator Phil King. Is there objection? The chair hears none. The House stands adjourned pending the reading and referral of bills. The following bills and resolution on first reading and referral to committee. The clerk will read the bills and resolutions.
HB 5051 by Harrison, relating to prohibiting a state agency from adopting or using a form that collects information regarding an individual's race or ethnicity, referred to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5052 by Harrison, relating to the period of which a retail fireworks permit holder may sell fireworks to the public, referred to the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5053 by Leach, relating to the prohibition on marketing, advertising, or selling of certain e-cigarette products, creating a criminal offense, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5054 by Leach, relating to an open carrying of handgun by a uniformed school marshal, referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5055 by Turner, relating to a system for appraising property for ad valorem tax purposes, authorizing a fee, referred to the Subcommittee on Property Tax Appraisals. HB 5056 by Reynolds, relating to human sexuality education in public schools, referred to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5057 by Landgraf, relating to the exclusive contracts for municipal solid waste management services, referred to the Committee on Environmental Regulation. HB 5058 by Leach, relating to the extent of a defendant's criminal responsibility for the conduct of a co-conspirator in a capital murder case, and review for that certain convictions by the Board of Pardons and Paroles, referred to the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5059 by Leach, relating to criminal conduct involving a catalytic converter removed from a motor vehicle, creating a criminal offense, referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5060 by Leach, relating to an operation and administration of and practices and procedures relating to the proceedings in the judicial branch of state government, referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5061 by Leach, relating to prohibiting certain activities by contractors and vendors of state agencies providing administrative penalties, referred to the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5062 by Leach, relating to requiring a public institution of higher education to award certain course credit for dual credit courses in computer science, referred to the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5063 by Garcia Bear, relating to tuition and fee exemptions from former foster children with intellectual disabilities to attend comprehensive transition and post-secondary programs at a public institution of higher education, referred to the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5064 by A. Davis of Dallas, relating to the designation of a portion of U.S. Highway 67 in Dallas and Ellis counties as the Eddie Bernice Johnson Memorial Highway, referred to the Committee on Transportation. HB 5065 by Leach, relating to the regulation in residential treatment centers, including requirements related to public education for certain children who reside in residential treatment centers, creating a criminal offense, referred to the Committee on Human Services. HB 5066 by Johnson, relating to the reimbursement to a county for forensic science expenses associated with certain crimes, referred to the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5067 by Leach, relating to the jurisdiction of the 15th Court of Appeals, referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5068 by Romero, relating to the creation of a Texas Conditional Driver's Permit, Provisional Texas Conditional Driver's Permit, and Texas Conditional Learner Permit, authorizing a fee, referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5069 by Leach, relating to the trustee settlement of accounts, referred to the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5070 by Gonzalez of Dallas, relating to the use of an electronic bulletin board to post public notice, referred to the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5071 by Reynolds, relating to the applicability of limits on authority of a political subdivision to regulate the issuance of permits, referred to the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5072 by Johnson, relating to the appointment of a counsel for indigent defendants or juveniles of certain capital felony cases, referred to the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5073 by Gonzalez of Dallas, relating to the landlord's duty to provide an accounting statement and of a residential tenant, refer to the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5074 by Hayes, relating to the certain actions for personal injury that arise out of a sexual offense against a child or disabled individual and are brought against the non-perpetrator to the offense, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5075 by Raymond, relating to the authority of a school districts in certain counties to establish alternate programs in lieu of sending students to juvenile justice alternative education programs, refer to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5076 by Leach, relating to the vicarious liability of certain medical care, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5077 by Leach, relating to the essential knowledge and skills for the public school foundation curriculum and social studies curriculum, refer to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5078 by Leach, relating to the amount of controversy in the jurisdiction of statutory county courts, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5079 by Leach, relating to the qualifications of certain masters, magistrates, referees, and associate judges, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5080 by Leach, relating to the confidentiality of certain information for employees of a county or a court or the Office of Court Administration of the Texas Judicial System of Employees, Family Members, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5081 by Leach, relating to the protection of personal identifying information of certain persons in the judicial system creating a criminal offense, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5082 by Leach, relating to the municipal and county enforcement of drug laws providing civil penalties, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5083 by Patterson, relating to the adoption and review of rules by state agencies, for the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5084 by Gerdes, relating to the sale of fireworks on and before the Lunar New Year holiday, for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5085 by Gervin Hawkins, relating to a study on the impact of certain seed banks and seed preservation on the access to food and the environment, for the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock. HB 5086 by Ordaz, relating to establishing a pilot program to increase the supply of child care services and to encourage employer partnerships to meet strategic workforce needs in certain regions of the state, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5087 by Gerdes, relating to the regulation and use to scrap tires by certain counties, for the Committee on Environmental Regulation. HB 5088 by Spiller, relating to the Major Events Reimbursement Program and the Events Trust Fund, for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HB 5089 by Guerin, relating to the creation of a school district by detachment of territory from an existing school district, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5090 by Schaffner, relating to the provision in the autologous and direct blood donations for medical procedures performed at hospitals, for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5091 by Schaffner, relating to radiation warning labels on electric vehicles, for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5092 by Tepper, relating to the operation and dissolution of the Lubbock Redevelopment Authority and to agreements between Texas Tech University and the authority, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5093 by Bojani, relating to the disclosure under the Public Information Law of certain contact information of a notary public that is maintained by the Secretary of the State, for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5094 by Tepper, relating to renaming the Mexican free-tailed bat as the Texas free-tailed bat, refer to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5095 by Harrison, relating to the repeal of the Texas Jobs, Energy, Technology, and Innovation Act, for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5096 by Perez of El Paso, relating to the temporary local option exemption from ad valorem taxation by a taxing unit of the total appraised value of the surplus real property of each person purchases from the El Paso Independent School District, for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5097 by Guillen, relating to the access and the use of certain criminal history record information, for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5098 by Curry, relating to the establishment of an electronic health record loan program for certain health care facilities, for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5099 by Bonin, relating to the establishment of shared savings program and certain managed care plans, for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5100 by Leo Wilson, relating to the instruction on adoption and the parenting and paternity awareness program in public schools, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5101 by Lowe, relating to the cancellation of all voter registrations following each presidential election, making conforming changes to voter registration and maintenance procedures, imposing civil penalty, for the Committee on Elections. HB 5102 by Bonin, relating to the applicability of certain prescription drug insurance laws to health benefit plans and pharmacy benefit managers, for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5103 by Rosenthal, relating to the abandonment of mineral proceeds from the purposes of certain unclaimed property laws, for the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5104 by Schatzline, relating to the membership and fees collected by the State Bar of Texas and to the disciplinary procedures for licensed attorneys, for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5105 by Rosenthal, relating to the imposition on a payer of the proceeds of production from an oil or gas well of a duty to notify the payee when payments to the payee are suspended, for the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5106 by Rosenthal, relating to the information a payer of the proceeds of the production from an oil and gas well is required to provide a payee for the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5107 by Reynolds relating to voter registration for the Committee on Elections. HB 5108 by Bojani relating to the maintenance of records of an independent investigations of death in custody in accordance with the state record retention requirements for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5109 by Darby relating to the certain regulations adopted by governmental entities for the construction or alteration of residential or commercial buildings for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5110 by Cunningham relating to the safety standards for public school instructional facilities doors for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5111 by Darby relating to the regulation of a campaign treasurer appointments and related matters and to the content and of posting of that information contained in the campaign treasurer appointment, providing a civil penalty for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5112 by Shaheen relating to a policy prohibiting anti-Semitism at public schools of higher education for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5113 by Orr relating to the age at which a child on determinate sentence probation may be transferred to a district court or placed in community supervision for the Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. HB 5114 by Cunningham relating to the continuing medical education requirements for certain physicians regarding adoption for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5115 by Shaheen relating to the penalty for a crime of election fraud, increasing a criminal penalty for the Committee on Elections. HB 5116 by Shaheen relating to requirements and procedures in the contest of an election on a proposed constitutional amendment for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5117 by Hopper relating to an operator of an automated motor vehicle for the purpose of determining liability in the event of a collision, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5118 by Bojani relating to the use of an automated employment decision tool by an employer to assess a job's applicant's fitness for a position, refer to the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5119 by Harris relating to an exemption from sales and use taxes for items used to construct a nuclear project, refer to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5120 by Harris relating to a franchise tax credit for taxable entities that construct a nuclear project, for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5121 by Harris Davila relating to inpatient competency restoration services for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5122 by Harris Davila relating to certain duties of the Texas Workforce Commission with respect to child care resources for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5123 by Darby relating to financial assurance requirements for operators under the jurisdiction of the Railroad Commission of Texas for the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5124 by Raymond relating to the conversion of all or a portion of a municipal sales or use tax originally adopted for the purpose of sports at community venues to a municipal sales use tax for economic development purposes for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5125 by Troxclair relating to the measures to ensure public school transparency and accountability, including school district board of trustees, meeting requirements, posting of certain information on the public school's internet website, and creation of grievance portal, and the inclusion of the transparency and accountability domain in the public school accountability system for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5126 by Raymond relating to the grounds for recounting paperless electronic voting system ballots for the Committee on Elections. HB 5127 by Raymond relating to a county purchasing agents in certain counties for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5128 by Leach relating to a court administration, including the term of a local administrative judge, court administration training, and the compensation of certain administrative judges for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5129 by Noble relating to the security of certain personal identifying information submitted to or retained by a state agency for the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5130 by Leach relating to the additional compensation certain counties pay to judges and justices for extrajudicial services for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5131 by Anchia relating to the establishment of the Office of Medical Examiner in certain counties for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5132 by Gates relating to the exclusion for mixed beverage gross receipts tax and mixed beverages sale tax for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5133 by Cunningham relating to the licensing and registration of behavior analysts and assistant behavior analysts for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5134 by Garcia Hernandez relating to eligibility to request a deposition before bringing of a civil action for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5135 by Gerdes relating to the prohibition of discrimination by governmental entities based on immutable characteristics for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5136 by Richardson relating to a membership on and the applicability of the open meetings law to the governing board of a child's advocacy center for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5137 by Wilson relating to the beneficiary designation that transfers a motor vehicle to one or more beneficiaries at the owner's death for the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5138 by Shaheen relating to the duty of the Attorney General to prosecute criminal offenses prescribed by the election laws of the state for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5139 by Guillen relating to the less lethal force weapons, including the defense to prosecution for certain offenses involving the use of a less lethal force weapon by a peace officer for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs.
HB 5140 by Landgraf relating to the credit for the repayment for the amount required to be paid by the school district for the purchase of the attendance credit for the public school finance system or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5141 by Howard relating to the lease of certain state property for the Department of State and Health Services to Travis County or for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5142 by Howard relating to the authority of the Department of State Health Services to lease certain real property or for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5143 by Dutton relating to the prohibition and referral of a suit of a parent-child relationship filed by the government entity of a court designated for the juvenile court in certain counties, referred to the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5144 by Ladderback relating to prohibiting certain deceptive trade practices by businesses assisting veterans with the Department of Veteran Affairs claims, referred to the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5145 by Thompson relating to sharing and protection of certain utility propriety customer information for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5146 by Tellerico relating to certain requirements requiring the subsidized child care program administered by Texas Workforce Commission for the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5147 by King relating to the investigative stem cell treatment for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5148 by Tellerico relating to the regulation of the stairway requirements for certain multifamily residential buildings by political subdivisions or for the Committee on Land Resource Management. HB 5149 by Villalobos relating to restricting the use of DNA samples collected from the child and a managing conservatorship for the Department of Family and Protective Services for certain purposes or for the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5150 by Ladderback relating to transfer the University of Houston Victoria to the Texas A&M University System or for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5151 by Wilson relating to the prohibition of certain new mines, quarries, or rock crushing operations or for the Committee on Environmental Regulation. HB 5152 by Rose relating to the Medicaid reimbursement for services provided to certain nurse surveillance and nurse home visiting program or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5153 by Rose relating to amending the Chapter 6762 of the Health and Safety Code by adding certain local entities provider for reimbursements of the Children Health Insurance Program for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5154 by Wilson relating to reporting of the Joint Administration Medical Program for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5155 by Rose relating to the continuation of the pilot program designated to improve the quality and accessibility of care for certain Medicaid recipients or for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5156 by Bryant relating to the cost of living adjustments applicable to certain benefits paid for the teacher retirement system of Texas or for the Committee of Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5157 by Schaffner relating to prohibiting the purchase of certain food and drink items under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5158 by Schaffner relating to the authority of the political subdivision to spend public money in certain professional associations to promote and implement diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5159 by Bryant relating to providing inmates with state-issued identification on release or discharge or for the Committee on Corrections. HB 5160 by Rose relating to the eligibility of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5161 by Patterson relating to the authority of the officer or employee designated by the governing body of the municipality to calculate certain ad valorem taxes of the municipality, recalculate those rates or for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5162 by Bryant relating to the repealing of the authority to create a school district by the detachment by a territory from an existing school district for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5163 by Bryant relating to the minimum wage and requirement the biennial study of the report of the living wage in the state for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5164 by Bryant relating to the parental leave of certain employees paid by their employees or insurance or policies maintained by employers or for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5165 by Bryant Landgraf relating to the use of municipal hotel occupancy tax revenue in certain municipalities for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5166 by Bryant relating to the housing providing property tax exemptions and the relief of relating to housing providing civil penalty or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5167 by Bell Montgomery relating to the membership of the Employees Retirement System in Texas, certain members of the Texas National Guard or for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5168 by Ladderback relating to the location of the Texas Windstorm Association headquarters or for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5169 by Shaheen relating to limitations applicable to certain agreements providing by the rebate of the municipal sales and the use of taxes, grant or loan on those taxes or for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5170 by Ladderback relating to increasing the minimum term of imprisonment by changing the eligibility of community supervision and the parole of certain felony offenses by the firearm is used or exhibited to certain consequences of conviction of certain offenses or for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5171 by Hayes relating to providing a one-time supplement payment to the annual cost of living adjustment applicable to certain benefits paid by the Judicial Retirement System of the Texas Plan 1 and Judicial Retirement System of the Texas Plan 2 for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5172 by Bella Montgomery relating to the creation of the district or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5173 by Dean relating to annual statistical reports of the adoption of title insurance premium rates for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5174 by Hayes relating to law governing actions involving certain investment securities and and priority perfection certain security interests under the Uniform Commercial Code, or for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5175 by Bernal, relating the employment of classroom teachers in public schools and the waiver of payment in certain education, examination, and certificate fees, or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5176 by Bella Montgomery, relating the retired members of the Texas State Guard for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5177 by Diallo, relating to the use of certain toll and charges by certain counties, authorizing administrative penalty for the Subcommittee on Transportation Funding. HB 5178 by Howard, relating to the health benefit plan coverage of the biomarker testing, or for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5179 by A. Davis Dallas, relating disclosure of information regarding an open enrollment charter school management company, or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5180 by Wilson, relating to diploma designation of institutions of higher education, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5181 by Dean, relating to the minimum revenue of calculation subject to the Texas franchise tax, or for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5182 by Zwiener, relating to the civil penalties imposed by the Texas Ethics Commission, including the collection of and eligibility of the public elective office of persons liable for those penalties, or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5183 by Frank, relating to the contracts managed care organizations, including the procurement of the managed care contracts under Medicaid and the child health care plan coverage, or for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5184 by Frank, relating to the managed care consumer choice program, or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5185 by Frank, relating to the contract managed care organizations, the procurement and managed care contracts under Medicaid and managed health care child care plan program, for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5186 by Zwiener, relating the information relied by the Railroad Commission of Texas for the purposes of ruling involving railfall estimates refer to the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5187 by Patterson, relating to certain municipal and county regulation and the conversion of certain office buildings to mixed use and multi-family residential occupancy, or for the Committee of Land and Resource Management. HB 5188 by Lopez of Cameron, relating the exemption of the requirement of the obtain a permit of the Groundwater Conservation District of the Bacchus groundwater wells, or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5189 by Lopez of Cameron, relating the instructional materials developed for the police chiefs of the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement on the issues specific to women in law enforcement, for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5190 by Wilson, relating the requiring parental consent of the interviewing a student regarding certain alleged incidents of misconduct in public schools, or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5191 by Smithy, relating providing a one-time supplemental payment for the cost of living adjustment applicable to certain benefits paid for the teacher retirement system of Texas, or for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5192 by Villalobos, relating the operation of certain metropolitan transit authorities, or for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5193 by Caprillion, relating to improving efficiency, transparency, and regulatory processes in the state and local government, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5194 by Caprillion, relating the improving the efficiency of the state workforce development programs and the apprenticeship pathways to address the workforce shortages, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5195 by Caprillion, relating modernization of state agencies systems, including the improvement of online access to services and reduction of payment requirements, or for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5196 by Caprillion, relating to the telework of state employees, or for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5197 by Bella Montgomery, relating the eligibility of ratepayers to file an appeal regarding water drainage and sewer rates with the Public Utility Commission of Texas, for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5198 by Dean, relating to study of title insurance rates in Texas and other states, or for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5199 by Zwiener, relating the authority of municipality or county to enact and impose an impact fee for a roadway facility and safety improvement of roadway facility, or for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5200 by Anshia, relating to the use of grid enhancing technologies and the high performance conductors in the ERCOT power region, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5201 by Lopez Cameron, relating to requiring school districts to ensure the project managers overseeing construction projects are bonded, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5202 by Bonner, relating the governance of public institutions of higher education, or for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5203 by Bella Montgomery, relating the state preemption of certain municipal and county regulation, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5204 by Guillen, relating the regulation of certain low-income livestock processing establishments, for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5205 by Guillen, relating the issuance of certain package storage permits and transfer of package storage permits to another location, or for the Committee of Licensing Administrative Procedures. HB 5206 by Guillen, relating the notice provided to certain public drinking water supply systems for water quality testing, for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5207 by Guillen, relating regarding notification procedures concerning groundwater contamination for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5208 by gain ruling installation of filtration system of public drinking water supply systems or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5209 by gain ruling consideration of the compliance of the rules of the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality and approving rates of water or sewage utility services or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5210 by fee and relating the exemption of ad valorem taxation, the total appraised value of the real property for which an owner of the property has prepaid those taxes or for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5211 by fee and relating the student loan repayment assistance for certain attorneys providing legal services in rural counties or for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5212 by fee and relating the advertising, display, and offering prices for pre-prepared food for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5213 by Zwina relating the groundwater requirements for municipal and county approval for subdivision plats and the powers and duties of the groundwater conservation districts for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5214 by TIP relating the creation of Texas adoption and the option of education awareness programs into adoption-related curriculum and information for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5215 by Isaac relating criminal penalty of practicing chiropractic without a license, increasing criminal penalty for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5216 by Martinez relating designation of the portion of the U.S. Highway 281 by Hidalgo County and the Border Patrol Agent Jose Rodriguez Memorial Highway for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5217 by Perez of El Paso relating the provision of the state aid in certain local governments disproportionately affected by the granting of the ad valorem tax relief to disabled veterans and the surviving spouses of certain armed vet service members for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5218 by Lopez of Cameron relating to the route designation, the issuance of the permit of the movement of the oversized and overweight vehicles that is service of the deep water seaport of the U.S.-Mexico border for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5219 by Martinez relating the interim study of the water resource development in certain counties for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5220 by Manuel relating to the provision and the access of the services to certain children and certain health care needs, including access to certain Medicaid waiver programs for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5221 by Manuel relating the provision of the shelter or care for a minor of the emergency service facility for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5222 by Verdell relating the eligibility of the persons convicted of a felony to run or certain public offices for the Committee on Elections. HB 5223 by Manuel relating the emergency response protocols and safety security audits developed by the Texas School Safety Center and the Health and Human Service Commission for daycare centers for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5224 by Gain relating the critical detonation of certain natural health gas facilities for the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5225 by Alders relating the powers and duties of certain property owners association for the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5226 by Harrison relating calculation and no new revenue tax rate for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5227 by Alders relating protection of workers in the Texas entertainment industry and accept employment in the union and non-union productions without fear of retaliation, backlisting, or loss of union membership or for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5228 by Ward Johnson relating the collection of certain incident-based data reported to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5229 by Bob Gunner relating the administration and enforcement of the Texas Office of Comptroller for Public Accounts against the appraisal district for the failure of the district to undertake the corrective actions ordered by the comptroller after review of the district methods, appraisal standards, and procedures for the Committee on Ways and Means.
HB 5230 by Ward Johnson relating to the emergency response management training for certain administrators and security personnel at public schools for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5231 by Manuel relating to clarity and certainty in the administration and operation of Medicaid for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5232 by Buckley relating to the pilot program for outcomes-based contracts at public schools for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5233 by Ward Johnson relating to the examination required for licensing as a social worker for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5234 by Flores relating to an exception for the requirements to assist or cooperate with the federal immigration officers or matters regarding activities that occur at a domestic violence shelter for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5235 by Ward Johnson relating to permitting the certain concrete plans located in the municipality or not subject to zoning regulations for the Committee on Environmental Regulation. HB 5236 by Manuel relating to the determination by a state agency that an area in this state is a rural area for the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock. HB 5237 by Flores relating to the wrongful death actions arising from the death of an unborn child resulting from an abortion for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5238 by Lopez of Bear relating to the criminal offense of disrupting a meeting or procession. Further, the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency, HB 5239 by Morales Shaw, relating to requiring certain governmental entities to allow interested persons or comment on the proposed adoption or revision of certain emergency management plans. Further, the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs, HB 5240 by Morales Shaw, relating to the creation of a pretrial intervention or diversion program for certain nonviolent offenses, authorizing a fee. Further, the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence, HB 5241 by Simmons, relating to an action to remedy certain conditions affecting safety or habitability of certain residential rental property, providing a civil penalty. For the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development, HB 5242 by Vo, relating to the categorization, collection, and publication of demographic and other information pertaining to certain public benefit programs. For the Committee on Human Services, HB 5243 by Gerdes, relating to prohibiting the purchase of certain food and drink items under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. For the Committee on Human Services, HB 5244 by Manuel, relating to the development and implementation of the Texas Plan Demonstration Program to fund the purchase by and provision to certain eligible individuals of health care services. For the Committee on Human Services, HB 5245 by Lozano, relating to the acquisition of real property by a private entity with eminent domain authority. For the Committee on Land and Resource Management, HB 5246 by Bonin, relating to the administration, powers, and duties of the Texas Space Commission, the Texas Aerospace Research and Space Economy Consortium, and other governmental entities and institutions regarding aerospace, aviation, and space exploration initiatives, and to the abolishment of the Spaceport Trust Fund. For the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency, HB 5247 by Guerin, relating to the alternative capital recovery process for certain utilities. For the Committee on State Affairs, HB 5248 by Guillen, relating to the pilot program for the safe disposal of prescription drugs, including controlled substance prescription drugs. For the Committee on Public Health, HB 5249 by Longoria, relating to the confidentiality for certain information maintained by state licensing agencies. For the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency, HB 5250 by Longoria, relating to the refund of a motor vehicle sales taxes paid on certain bad debt. For the Committee on Ways and Means, HB 5251 by Leo Wilson, relating to an excused absences from public schools for certain students to attend mental health care appointments. For the Committee on Public Education, HB 5252 by Shaheen, relating to the authority of a municipality to adopt, increase, or decrease the rate of an appeal and an additional sales and use tax for property tax relief by ordinance or resolution of the governing body of the municipality. For the Committee on Ways and Means, HB 5253 by Anchia, relating to the authority of a municipality to alter speed limits. For the Committee on Transportation, HB 5254 by Raymond, relating to a claim of an actual innocence by a person convicted of a criminal offense, creating the Texas Innocence Inquiry Commission. For the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence, HB 5255 by Morales of Harris, relating to the policies related to the removal and placement of a child by the Department of Family and Protective Services. For the Committee on Human Services, HB 5256 by Swanson, relating to the number of polling places in certain counties. For the Committee on Elections, HB 5257 by Ward Johnson, relating to the mental health first aid training for certain school district volunteers. For the Committee on Public Education, HB 5258 by Busey, relating to racial discrimination in voting. For the Committee on Elections, HB 5259 by Flores, relating to a wildlife corridor action plan developed by the Parks and Wildlife Department and certain other duties and the department relating to wildlife corridors. For the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, HB 5260 by Curry, relating to investment of public funds by local government and investment pools. For the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services, HB 5261 by Cunningham, relating to the designating the Wyndham School District to provide post-secondary education to inmates of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. For the Committee on Corrections, HB 5262 by Gonzalez of El Paso, relating to the establishment of a school health and related service program advisory council. For the Committee on Public Education, HB 5263 by Guerin, relating to the accessibility of results from state assessment. For the Committee on Public Education, HB 5264 by Cunningham, relating to the establishing the Historic Texas Cemeteries designation program, authorizing a fee. For the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, HB 5265 by Wilson, relating to the Healthcare Professional Education Fund. For the Committee on Higher Education, HB 5266 by Bella Montgomery, relating to the authority of Attorney General to investigate violations by law of certain local governments and to take action against those local governments to enforce the law. For the Committee on State Affairs, HB 5267 by Bella Montgomery, relating to municipal and county financial requirements. For the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs, HB 5268 by Munoz, relating to the maximum amount of penalties that may be imposed for delinquent tax and tax reports and the application of taxpayer payments to taxes, penalties, and interest. For the Committee on Ways and Means, HB 5269 by Berry, relating to the authority of the Office of the Public Utility Council to access certain data. For the Committee on State Affairs, HB 5270 by Curry, relating to authorized investments by governmental entities. For the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services, HB 5271 by Gonzalez of El Paso, relating to the screening of services for and educational programs for children with visual impairments, authorizing administrative penalty. For the Committee on Public Health, HB 5272 by Gonzalez of El Paso, relating to the franchise tax credit for taxable entities to operate on an on-site Child Care Center for the use by the entity's employees, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5273 by Gonzalez of El Paso, relating to a franchise tax credit for certain child care centers that increase their capacity to care for children, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5274 by Cunningham, relating to the licensing and regulation of an anesthesiologist assistant requiring an occupational license, providing administrative penalty, authorizing fees, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5275 by Gonzalez of El Paso, relating to the measures to ensure safety of individuals with disabilities during an emergency situation at the public post-secondary institutions, referred to the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5276 by Curry, relating to the dedication of certain state money for ad valorem tax relief, referred to the Committee on Appropriations. HB 5277 by Pearson, relating to the duties of the Texas Maternal Mortality and Morbidity Review Committee and the collection, maintenance, and disclosure of maternal health records regarding voluntary termination of pregnancy, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5278 by Bella Kaufman, relating to the licensing and regulation of persons who provide services and related to the deceased, creating a criminal offense and increasing the punishment for an existing criminal offense, expanding the application of the fee, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5279 by Hinojosa, relating to the consideration of the compensation of a vendor's chief executive officer as an additional relevant factor in determining the best value for the state when awarding a state contract, referred to the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5280 by Gonzalez of Dallas, relating to the consideration by a governmental entity of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives of the business bidding on a contract with a governmental entity, referred to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5281 by Hinojosa, relating to the prohibition of the dissemination of certain personal identifying information by a state agency to the federal government, referred to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5282 by Hinojosa, relating to the use of artificial intelligence to score certain portions of assessment instruments administered to public school students, referred to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5283 by Schatzline, relating to the operations of the Texas Military Department, referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5284 by Hinojosa, relating to the considerations in awarding contracts under the Medicaid Managed Care Program to managed care organizations that are public benefit corporations, referred to the Committee on Human Services. HB 5285 by Frank, relating to family support services provided under the Health and Human Services Commission program, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5286 by Hinojosa, relating to the release of a person on parole or mandatory supervision from a residential correctional facility, referred to the Committee on Corrections. HB 5287 by Munoz, relating to the collection of delinquent ad valorem taxes, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5288 by Hinojosa, relating to the allocation, use, and transfer of federal education block grants, referred to the Committee on Appropriations. HB 5289 by Harris Davila, relating to the notice provided by a healthcare provider before initiating debt collection against the patient, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5290 by Wale, relating to the transfer of certain state property from the Texas Department of Transportation to the University of Houston, referred to the Committee on Transportation. HB 5291 by Wale, relating to reporting and the planning requirements to reduce the occurrence of sexual assault near the campuses of public institutions of higher education, referred to the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5292 by Munoz, relating to the collection of a delinquent ad valorem taxes, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5293 by Bonin, relating to the establishment of the Texas Forensic Analyst Apprenticeship Pilot Program, for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5294 by Bonin, relating to medical school admissions, coursework, academic standards, and employment decisions in the state, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5295 by Paul, relating to the appointments to the Public Transportation Advisory Committee, for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5296 by Tallarico, relating to the salary and wages paid to public school employees, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5297 by Tallarico, relating to the minimum wage, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5298 by Tallarico, relating to the restrictions of certain contributions to lobbyist compensation by persons appointed to public office by the governor, creating a criminal offense, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5299 by Tallarico, relating to the establishment of the Texas Promise Grant Program for certain students at a two-year public institutions of higher education, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5300 by Goodwin, relating to the project to identify and address high-injury road segments and the designation of highway safety corridors, increasing a fine, for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5301 by Perez of Harris, relating to certain requirements regarding the subsidized child care program administered by the Texas Workforce Commission, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5302 by Schatzline, relating to the establishment of the Texas Foster Care Post-Adoption Assistance Account Program, for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5303 by Troxclair, relating to the vote required by the governing body of a taxing unit to adopt an ad valorem tax rate that exceeds the voter approval tax rate or authorize the issuance of tax bonds, for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5304 by Tallarico, relating to the campaign contribution limits for certain offices, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5305 by Lowe, relating to the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America in public schools and in open enrollment charter schools providing exemptions, referred to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5306 by Tallarico, relating to the permissible uses of the school safety allotment and creation of a mental and behavioral health allotment under the Foundation School Program, referred to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5307 by Talarico, relating to the regulation of the cultivation, manufacture, processing, distribution, sale, testing, transportation, delivery, transfer, possession, use, and taxation of cannabis and cannabis products, and the local regulation of cannabis establishments, providing for expunction of the records relating to certain decriminalized conduct, authorizing the imposition of fees, requiring an occupational license, creating a criminal offense, imposing a tax, referred to the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5308 by Cortez, relating to certain authorities of the Adjutant General of Procurement and Construction, referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety and Affairs. HB 5309 by Talarico, relating to the establishment of the local 911 response fund and grant program, referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety and Veterans Affairs. HB 5310 by Talarico, relating to the repeal of certain laws regulating abortion and the construction of abortion statutes, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5311 by Talarico, relating to the establishing the Texas Care Plan Medicaid buy-in program to provide health benefit plan coverage to certain persons in the state, referred to the Committee on Appropriations. HB 5312 by Troxclair, relating to the sale, lease, or use of unused or underused school district facility, referred to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5313 by Talarico, relating to the reporting of a loan agreements made for the campaign or an officeholder purposes by a person or political committee, referred to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5314 by Patterson, relating to the establishment and duties of the Legislative Youth Advisory Council, referred to the Committee on House Administration. HB 5315 by Talarico, relating to the repealing certain restrictions and prohibitions regarding labor unions, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5316 by Talarico, relating to the Independent Citizen Redistricting Commission and the redistricting of the districts used to elect members of the United States House of Representatives, the Texas Legislature, and the State Board of Education, for the Committee on Redistricting. HB 5317 by Bella Montgomery, relating to the establishment of a risk management pool to provide insurance coverage, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5318 by Louderback, relating to the authority of the Attorney General to prosecute certain criminal offenses against public order, referred to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5319 by Harrison, relating to the authority of a political subdivision to propose for voter approval the issuance of general obligation bonds for the purpose rejected by the voters at the bond election held during the preceding 5 years, referred to the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services.
HB 5320 by Guillen, relating the combination of the Starr County Drainage and Groundwater Conservation District, for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5321 by Talarico, relating the employment leave for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5322 by Berry, relating the benefits paid by the Teacher Retirement System of Texas, for the Committee of Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5323 by King, relating the creation of the Texas Energy Waste Advisory Committee, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5324 by Talarico, relating the Driver's License Office appointments, for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5325 by Isaac, relating the requirements of the certain plats of the subdivision of the land, included evidence for groundwater supply, for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5326 by Talarico, relating the family and medical leave, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5327 by Richardson, relating the placement of a child in conservationship at the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services with an adoptive parent or its child, siblings, or for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5328 by Talarico, relating the installation of advanced X-ray inspection technology systems of certain Texas-Mexico border crossings, for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5329 by Hunter, relating to design, build contracts, for the Committee of Transportation. HB 5330 by Martinez Fisher, relating to the definition of tobacco product for the purposes of cigar and tobacco product tax, for the Committee of Ways and Means. HB 5331 by Dean, relating the enforceability of certain state agencies and local government contract language regarding required security incident notifications, for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5332 by Kerwin, relating the issuance of the excess axle gross weight permits, for the Committee of Transportation. HB 5333 by Bonner, relating the establishment of the STEM Excellence Graduate Fellowship Program, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5334 by Harrison, relating notice requirement before the issuance of the certain debt obligations and political subdivisions, for the Committee of Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5335 by Morales and Maverick, relating the seller notice regarding the connections of the water utilities of the contract tax of land, for the Committee of Trade and Workforce and Economic Development. HB 5336 by Thompson, relating minimum staffing requirements and policies for assisted living facilities to provide care for the persons of Alzheimer's disease-related disorders, to disclosure of certain standards and policies, for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5337 by Isaac, relating the requiring a person to submit proof of citizenship to register to vote, creating criminal offenses, for the Committee of Elections. HB 5338 by Leach, relating to providing an election for the parent of a student who is victimized by a public school employee, for the transfer of the student to another public school campus, receiving funding for the student to attend private school, for the Committee of Public Education. HB 5339 by Wilson relating to advancing research for the agriculture, sustainability, and pesticide harm reduction in the institutions of higher education for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5340 by Villalobos relating regulation of vehicle storage facilities and the approval of regulation by the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles for the internet websites of the public sale of the certain abandoned vehicles by the vehicle storage facility operators or for the Committee of Licensing Administrative Procedures. HB 5341 by Morales Shaw relating the issuance of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality of permits to authorize the diversion of state water from the Gulf of Mexico or the Bay of the arm of Gulf of Mexico distillation and the use of industrial purposes or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 342 by Landgraf relating the provision of behavioral health crisis services, including the operation of crisis centers and the mobile crisis outreach teams or for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5343 by Gann relating the reimbursement and the payments of the claim for certain health benefit plan issuers of the telemedicine, medical services, teledental, dentist industries, and telehealth medicine services for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5344 by Villalobos relating the eligibility of certain persons to provide services as an employee, volunteer, or contractor of certain agencies, including public school contractors, and the access at the registry of a person who is not eligible for employment at public schools or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5345 by Villalobos relating regulation of metal recycling entities or for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5346 by Metcalf relating the cessation of toll project entities in certain circumstances or for the Subcommittee of Transportation Funding. HB 5347 by Metcalf relating the construction of the non-tolled frontage road adjacent to the certain toll project for the Subcommittee on Transportation Funding. HB 5348 by Kitzman relating acquiring real property interests in the environmental mitigation required for water project for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5349 by Meza relating the quality assurance audit for the provision of healthcare inmates to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for the Committee on Corrections. HB 5350 by Bryant relating the notice and opportunity of public comment for certain policies adopted and implemented by state agency for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5351 by Villalobos relating the election of the application for the ballot to be voted by mail is requested for the Committee on Elections. HB 5352 by BSU relating the establishment of the state blockchain technology pilot program by the Department of Information Resources for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5353 by Bernal relating the administration of certain assessment instruments and accountability rating systems for assessing campus and district performance for the Committee of Public Education. HB 5354 by Leach relating the information reported to the prosecuting attorneys at the Texas Judicial Council for the Committee on Public Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HG 5355 by Bernal relating the permissible use of the allotment of students with dyslexia or related disorders in the Foundation School Program for the Committee on Public Education. HG 5356 by Lujan relating the authority of the municipality to regulate activities in horse-drawn carriages or for the Committee of Intergovernmental Affairs. HG 5357 by Luther relating to the period in which a land must be devoted for certain uses to qualify for the appraisal of ad valorem tax purposes of the qualified open space land for the Subcommittee on Property Tax Appraisals. HB 5358 by Morales and Maverick relating to the issuance of the disabled parking sticker by the Department of Motor Vehicles or for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5359 by Lujan relating to the requirement of motor vehicle emission tests on resale of certain vehicles or for the Committee on Environmental Regulation. HB 5360 by Villalobos relating to duty of Attorney General to prosecute human trafficking offenses or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5361 by Shaheen relating to certain requirements regarding the contract between a single source continuum contractor and the Department of Family and Protective Services or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5362 by Dowell relating to the basis of the third-party challenge of the voters' registration for the Committee on Elections. HB 5363 by Dunn relating to establishing the Texas Freedmen Cemetery Designation Programs are for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HG 5364 by Shaheen relating to the receivership of the single source continuing contractor providing welfare services are for the Committee on Human Services. HG 5365 by Munoz relating to the groundwater production restrictions imposed on certain conservation and reclaiming districts for the wells of wholly or partially cemetery irrigation are for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5366 by Shaheen relating the contract requirements for the contract of the single source continuing contract of the Department of Family and Protective Services for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5367 by Tallarico relating the campaign contribution limits for certain offices or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5368 by Rodriguez Ramos relating the minimum wage for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5369 by Cortez relating the amount of the expenditure that is exempt from the provisions of the Texas Engineering Practice Act for the Committee of Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5370 by Cortez relating the requirements of the interlocal contractor for the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5371 by Lowe relating the importance on students on not lawfully present present in the United States, enrolled in public school, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5372 by police or relating notice requiring an election held by certain political subdivisions or for the Committee on Elections. HB 5373 by Rodriguez Ramos relating the prohibition of the caste system discrimination for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5374 by Romero relating the bilingual education alignment of the public school finance system for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5375 by Lopez de Cameron relating to creating the Northern Cameron and Willacy County Water Authority, providing authority to issue bonds, granting the power of an eminent domain, providing authority to impose fees, or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5376 by Romero relating the authority of municipality to restrict the use of tolls by certain vehicles, or for the Subcommittee on Transportation Funding. HB 5377 by Lambert relating the filing of fraudulent financing statements in relation to secure transaction for the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5378 by Harris Duvall relating notice of certain food additives and meals provided by public schools, or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5379 by Kitzman relating to increasing the punishment of intoxicated offenses and creating the criminal offense of continuous driving while intoxicated, for the Committee of Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5380 by Wally relating to the park land dedication requirements for subdivisions by counties, or for the Committee of Land and Resource Management. HB 5381 by Lowe relating protections of certain military dependents enrolled in public schools, or for the Committee of Public Education. HB 5382 by Busey relating to the establishment and use of electronic communication systems accessible to public by municipal utilities, for the Committee of Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5383 by Oliverson relating the requirements of the appointment of the medical examiner and the employment of the deputy medical examiner for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5384 by Talarico relating to the classroom teachers' rights to appeal to the Commissioner of Education regarding the teacher's designation under the local option teacher designation system, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5385 by Wilson relating to aquifer storage and recovery projects that transact a portion of the Edwards Aquifer, for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5386 by Police relating to allowing pregnant individuals to vote by mail if they allow it to be in a second or third trimester on election day, or for the Committee on Elections. HB 5387 by Wilson relating the authority of the Property Owners Association to assess a fine discolored vegetation or turf during a period of residential watering restriction, for the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5388 by Wally relating to the operating agreements between holders and distillers and rectifying permits of non-residential sellers permits, or for the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5389 by Perez of El Paso relating to the establishment of the grant program to support those best position of deceased bodies, or for the Subcommittee of County and Regional Government. HB 5390 by Ordaz relating the cooperation of economic development program participations of the local workforce development boards, or for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5391 by Morales Shaw relating to design consideration of the transportation products by the Texas Department of Transportation, or for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5392 by Rose relating to the installation of bollards and other safety barriers adjacent to certain hospital emergency rooms, or for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5393 by Shaheen relating the reporting investigation of misconduct by public and private school employees, or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5394 by Rose relating prohibiting the child placing agencies from imposing certain requirements on relative and designated caregivers, or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5395 by Ordaz relating to establishment of the Cross-Agency Employment Resource Initiative to coordinate and optimize certain employment services and resources in the state, or for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5396 by Rose relating to licensing and regulation of inpatient rehabilitation facilities, or for imposing fees, providing civil penalties, or for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5397 by Hayes relating to authorizing an out-of-state winery direct shipper's permit to conduct sampling or tasting events at certain locations, or for the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5398 by Marasa Maverick relating to taking a certain sheep by using a helicopter, for the Committee of Culture and Recreation and Tourism. HB 5399 by Antia relating to creating certain criminal offenses concerning the unlawful transfer of a purchase of certain weapons, or for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5400 by Gonzalez of Dallas relating to unlawful employment practices based on sexual harassment, including complaints and civil actions arising from those practices, or for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5401 by Schatzline relating to the applicability of sex offender registration requirements for certain felonies based on the offense initially charged in the state case, or for the Committee of Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5402 by Guerin relating to the physical impact statements for legislation imposing mandates on health benefit plan issuers, or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5403 by Guerin relating to the repeal of a provision governing the operation of jail commission areas in certain counties, or for the subcommittee on county and regional government. HB 5404 by Tallarico, ruling the overtime compensation of certain state employees, or for the committee on delivery of government efficiency. HB 5405 by Bernal, ruling the amount of an expenditure made by a municipality which a competitive bidding is required, for the committee on intergovernmental affairs. HB 5406 by Little, ruling the creation of the Office of Inspector General appointed by the State Board of Education with the jurisdiction to investigate allegations of the Texas Public Employees misconduct, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5407 by Bajani, ruling the restrictions of residential releasing and property owners associated, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5408 by Gates, ruling General Land Office and Department of Housing and Community Affairs reviews of the real property owned by the state, or for the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5409 by Cook, ruling the role of advocacy and support groups in the juvenile justice system, for the Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. HB 5410 by Dean, ruling the responsibility and tort of the treatment of the fluid, oil, and gas waste for beneficial use, or for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence.
HB 5411 by Hayes, relating to the financial disclosure requirements for judges receiving contributions from parties involved in the cases that preside over, for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5412 by Lambert, relating to the determination of whether a person is intoxicated for purposes for the Texas Workers' Compensation Act, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5413 by Hinojosa, relating to the utilization of certain highways designated by metropolitan planning organizations, for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5414 by Lozano, relating to certain criminal conduct involving agricultural land, including the justified use of force or deadly force to protect agricultural land from that conduct, and civil liability arising out of certain justified threats to use force or deadly force, creating a criminal offense, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5415 by Orr, relating to the contract requirements for a contract between a single source continuum contractor and the Department of Family and Protective Services, for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5416 by Bryant, relating to the prohibition on carrying a firearm across the international border of this state into Mexico, creating a criminal offense, for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5417 by Lozano, relating to a bona fide offer for the acquisition of real property through condemnation, for the Committee on Land Resource Management. HB 5418 by Kane, relating to the composition of Board of Directors of the Texas School Safety Center, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5419 by Hinojosa, relating to eliminating inefficiencies in the organization, operation, powers, regulations, and management of the Texas Education Agency to prioritize provisions of funding directly to public schools, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5420 by Perez of El Paso, relating to the military transition allotment under the Foundation School Program, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5421 by Romero, relating to the regulation of certain occupations by the Texas Behavioral Health Executive Council, including the licensing of a marriage and family therapist, marriage and family therapist associates, professional counselor associates, and social workers, authorizing fees, for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5422 by Zwiener, relating to the civil liability for a violation of or for aiding or abetting in a violation of a fetal heartbeat abortion laws, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5423 by Tallarico, relating to an annual report published by the Texas Education Agency regarding public school campus closures, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5424 by Bonden, relating to a volunteer firefighter compensation limits, for the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5425 by Morales of Harris, relating to the prohibiting certain non-disclosure for non-disparagement agreements by employers, creating a civil cause of action, for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5426 by Bryant, relating to the regulation of an automated motor vehicle, for the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5427 by Zwiener, relating to prohibited conduct, enforcement actions, and proceedings concerning a pregnancy loss and to the provision of a pregnancy loss information, for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5428 by Bryant, relating to a payroll deductions for employees of a public university system or institution of higher education, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5429 by Bryant, relating to salary deductions for certain benefits approved by the Texas Retirement System for Texas for certain public educational entity employees, for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5430 by Wilson, relating to the declaration of a candidate's ineligibility on the basis filing an application for a place on the general primary election ballot or for the nomination by convention with one or more than one political party, for the Committee on Elections. HB 5431 by Gates, relating to the exclusion at a large in mayoral seats from the requirement of re-election following a proportionment, for the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5432 by Plisa, relating to the dissemination by the Department of Public Safety of criminal history record information to consumer reporting agencies, for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5433 by Plisa, relating to limitations on the information reported by consumer reporting agencies, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5434 by Plisa, relating to requiring consumer reporting agencies to notify a consumer when inaccurate information is in the consumer's file is corrected, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5435 by Bella Coppin, relating to required lease terms for public property leased to a non-governmental non-governmental entity referred to the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5436 by Bella Kaufman relating to the exception to the titling requirement for certain motor vehicles, creating a criminal offense, providing a fee referred to the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5437 by Kitzman relating to the validation of the creation of certain acts of the Austin County Municipal Utility District Number 1 referred to the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5438 by Bojani relating to the restrictions on residential leasing and property owners association for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5439 by Kane relating to limiting damages recoverable against alcohol beverage providers for providing alcohol to certain individuals and prohibiting claims by intoxicated persons or their estates for injuries or death resulting from their own intoxication for the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5440 by Garcia Bear relating to the Moving Image Industry Incentive Program for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HB 5441 by Richardson relating to prohibiting a fee for a parent-taught driver education instructor designation for the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5442 by Bernal relating to an exemption from an ad valorem taxation of a portion of the appraised value of tangible personal property of a person's own that is held or used for the production of income for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5443 by Tenderholt relating to the repeal of certain related provisions governing relations between malt beverage manufacturers, distributors, and retailers for the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5444 by Troxclair relating to the authority of a governing body of a school district to adopt an ad valorem tax rate that exceeds the district voter approval tax rate for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5445 by Martinez Fisher relating to an exemption from ad valorem taxation of a portion of the appraised value of the residence homestead of a school district employee for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5446 by Troxclair relating to the text of a ballot proposition that increase taxes for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5447 by Troxclair relating to the calculation of certain ad valorem tax rates for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5448 by Troxclair relating to the paid leave for public officers and employees engaged in certain military services for the Subcommittee on Defense and Veterans Affairs. HB 5449 by Toth relating to a limitation on the rate of growth in the state and local appropriations with the return over collected taxpayer money by reducing taxes for the Committee on Appropriations. HB 5450 by Lowe relating to the establishment of an advisory committee on preventable deaths in the county jails and a report of concerning county jail safety for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5451 by Anchia relating to the treatment of certain residence homesteads for the purpose of a tax increment financing act for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5452 by Garcia Bear relating to the establishment of crisis nursery facility pilot program by the Health and Human Services Commission for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5453 by Craddock relating to selection, prioritization, and funding of transportation projects for the Subcommittee on Transportation Funding. HB 5454 by Money relating to the authority of county to regulate certain land uses for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5455 by Raymond relating to the creation of Texas Health Insurance Exchange authorizing a fee for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5456 by Little relating to resident safety from criminal activity in senior retirement communities for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5457 by Bryant relating to the relationship between a pharmacy benefit manager and a pharmacist or pharmacy for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5458 by Metcalf relating to a study of the effectiveness of rules implemented by the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department governing the management of chronic wasting diseases and service resistant to chronic wasting disease for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HB 5459 by Wilson relating to the food and service establishment, temporary food and service establishment, and retail food store permits for certain small-scale business for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5460 by Schaffner relating to the display of sexually explicit material in public libraries for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5461 by Kerwin relating to the eligibility for supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits following certain parental truancy convictions for the Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. HB 5462 by Oliverson relating to the regulation of earned income access providers and the earned income access transactions, requiring an occupational license, authorizing fees, providing an administrative penalty, creating a criminal offense for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5463 by Moody relating to the emergency detention of certain persons evidencing mental illness and to court-ordered inpatient and extended mental health services for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5464 by Luther relating to the authority of the governor and certain political subdivisions with respect to disasters for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5465 by Moody relating to the procedures regarding certain persons who are or may be persons with mental illness or intellectual or developmental disability for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5466 by Kitzman relating to the compensation of directors of the Elena Management District for the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5467 by Kitzman relating to creating the criminal offense of continuous manufacture or delivery of controlled substance for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5468 by Moody relating to the authority of the Office of the Attorney General to make certain examinations and inquiries for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5469 by Capriglione relating to the abolishment, creation, and recreation of reports for the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5470 by Schofield relating to the authority of sheriffs and constables to enter into contracts to provide law enforcement services in certain counties, and county financial authority in relation to sheriffs and constables in certain counties for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5471 by Capriglione relating to the requirement that certain reports be filed electronically, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5472 by Gervin Hawkins relating to the transfer of certain state property from the Health and Human Services Commission to the Bexar County Board of Trustees and Mental Health, Mental Retardation Services, DBA, the Center for Health Care Services, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5473 by Gervin Hawkins relating to certain interests of the Health and Human Service Commission and certain real property in Bexar County, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5474 by Gervin Hawkins relating to the reversionary interest of the Health and Human Service Commission and certain real property in Bexar County, referred to the Committee on Public Health. HB 5475 by Guillen relating to a study and report of the Underground Facility Damage Prevention and Safety Act, referred to the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5476 by Wilson relating to the coordination and alignment of career and technical education grant programs across the tri-agency partners for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5477 by Schofield relating to the court orders eligible for interlocutory appeal, referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5478 by Kerwin relating to the exemption from ad valorem taxation of property owned in an organization engaged primarily in performing charitable functions, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5479 by Anchia relating to energy efficiency goals and programs for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5480 by Little relating to the competition and transparency in digital advertising for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5481 by Hinojosa relating to the continuation of a residence homestead exemption from ad valorem taxation while the owner is temporarily absent because of service outside the United States as a foreign service member employed under the United States Code Title 22 for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5482 by Patterson relating to renewable energy generation and energy storage facilities for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5483 by Patterson relating to the composition of the Juvenile Board of Grayson County for the Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. HB 5484 by Martinez Fisher relating to an appraisal review efficiency analysis of the conducted by the Comptroller, referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5485 by Money relating to the standards for a school district's library collection development policies providing a civil penalty, referred to the Committee on Public Education. HB 5486 by Toth relating to the provision of written notice to vacate real property, referred to the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5487 by Bonin relating to the operation and administration of the Texas Semiconductor Innovation Consortium, referred to the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5488 by Police relating to the Medicaid reimbursement for coordinated specialty care for the first episode's psychosis, referred to the Committee on Human Services. HB 5489 by Dyson relating to the temporary moratorium for the imposition of an impact fee, referred to the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5490 by Troxclair relating to the requirements regarding an election to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds or the approve an increase in ad valorem tax rate, for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5491 by Little relating to the vote harvesting, creating a civil penalty, referred to the Committee on Elections. HB 5492 by Vasut relating to the impeachment or removal from office of certain public officers, including procedures governing the impeachment trial on impeachment or disqualification of state officers, and to the grounds for which certain public officers may be removed from office, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5493 by Romero relating to the diversion and discharge of water desalination, for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5494 by Bryant relating to the determination of parentage of a child conceived by assisted reproduction, for the Subcommittee by Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5495 by Bojani relating to authorizing the use of global privacy controls to protect the consumer's personal data, providing civil penalty, for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5496 by Bojani relating to the disclosure and use of artificial intelligence, for the Committee on Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5497 by Olcott relating to the abolishing the Center for Elimination of Disproportionality and Disparity, for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5498 by Dutton relating to public schools grievance procedures, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5499 by LaHood relating to a towing fee studies and the amount of the non-consent towing fees in certain political subdivisions, authorizing an increase in existing fees, for the Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5500 by Olcott relating to the Texas Commission on the Arts, the composition and qualifications of its governing board, expenditures for certain fine art projects, and the distribution of grants, for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism.
HB 5501 by Olcott relating to the definition and assistance to organization and disposal of the surplus salvage property of the state, or for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5502 by Vasut relating the calculation of certain ad valorem tax rates in the taxing unit and the manner in which proposed ad valorem tax rate that exceeds the voter approval rate is approved, or for the Committee of Ways and Means. HB 5503 by Schaffner relating designation of the Interstate Highway 35 in Travis County of the President Donald J. Trump Highway, for the Committee of Transportation. HB 5504 by Raymond ruling the supervision of the apoplectic and the physicians of certain persons performing certain procedures for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5505 by Morales of Harris ruling the requirements of the backup electric generator connections for the multi-unit complexes in certain municipalities or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5506 by Field ruling the immunity of the ringside physicians assigned to combative sports events or for the Committee of Licensing and Administrative Procedures. HB 5507 by Lauterbach ruling the truancy in the offense of the parent contributing to non-attendance or for the Committee of Subcommittee of Juvenile Justice. HB 5508 by Baumgartner ruling the establishment of the Texas Film Academy to facilitate the workforce development in the state's film, television, and digital media industries or for the Committee of Higher Education. HB 5509 by Baumgartner ruling the suspension and revocation of hotel or motel certificate occupancy by a utility or suspect human trafficking or for the Committee of Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5510 by Leach relating to the abortion, including civil liability, distribution of abortion-inducing drugs, and the destruction of certain property, making conforming changes in the harmonization of conforming provisions, or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5511 by Bojani relating the review of existing boards and commissions under the jurisdiction of the Comptroller for continuity in the repeal of certain committees in the jurisdiction of the Comptroller for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5512 by Buckley relating the participation and reimbursement of and requirements affecting certain providers, including providers of eye health care and vision care services under Medicaid or for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5513 by Gainer relating the Rural Law Enforcement Child Care Grant Program Fund and Advisory Committee or for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5514 by Schofield relating the authority of a municipality or county to allow the construction of multifamily housing in certain areas for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5515 by Buckley ruling the restrictions of the freight and shipping costs included in the price of instructional materials for public schools or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5516 by A. Davis Dowds ruling the application of the establishment of the open enrollment chartered school or site or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5517 by Darby ruling the sexually explicit artificially generated images and videos or for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5518 by Darby ruling the procedure for action in certain applications to the amendment of the water right for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5519 by Martinez Fisher ruling the rates of residential property insurance and personal automobile insurance for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5520 by Gomez ruling the Border Protection and Economic Development Services programs and other measures for the including establishment of education center and programs for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5521 by Visu ruling the possession and administration of opioid antagonists by certain entities for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5522 by Schofield ruling the unauthorized occupancy of the real property credit against ad valorem taxes imposed on the real property for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5523 by Darby ruling the procedure of adoption of the Board of Regents of the Texas University System of rate and damage schedule for the management of the university land for the Committee of Land and Resource Management. HB 5524 by Guillaume ruling the creation of the Energy District granting a limited power of the eminent domain providing authority to issue bonds and providing authority to impose assessments, fees, and taxes for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5525 by Jones of Harris relating the parole guidelines and procedures for inmates convicted of offense committed when younger of 18 years of age and for the Subcommittee of Juvenile Justice. HB 5526 by Slauson related to school security volunteer programs in certain counties or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5527 by Buckley relating the selection terms and removal of members of the Board of Directors and the Appraisal Review Board of certain appraisal districts or for the Subcommittee on Property Tax Appraisals. HB 5528 by Lauterbach relating the establishment of the Texas Law Enforcement Crisis Prevention Task Force or for the Committee of Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5529 by Baumgartner relating the establishment of the Child Care Innovation Pilot Program for the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5530 by Toth relating the person's eligibility for the occupational license based on the conviction of the offense under federal law for the Committee on Corrections. HB 5531 by Howard relating exempting medical care provided by a midwife being considered as a neglect of a child for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5532 by Visu relating the limitation of a rate of growth in state appropriations or for the Committee on Appropriations. HB 5533 by Howard relating the prescribing and ordering a Schedule II controlled substances and narcotics drug treatment program by certain advanced practice registered nurses and physicians assistant for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5534 by Wilson relating to permitting a county commissioner's court to post their agendas on the digital screens by a county courthouse or for the Subcommittee on County Regional Government. HB 5535 by Bryant relating the types of benefits offered by the retirement system or for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5536 by Howard relating the establishment of the Child Protective Service Prevention Grant Program for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5537 by Gonzalo Silva Paso relating the prescriptive authority of certain psychologists for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5538 by Howard relating the anti-retaliation standard for mandatory reports of the suspected abuse or neglect of a minor for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5539 by Schatzline relating provision of adoption cost information by a licensed child placing agency or for the Committee of Human Services. HB 5540 by Martinez Fisher relating the appointment of counsel for indignant defendants released on custody or for the Committee of Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5541 by Toth relating discrimination by a state agency against an applicant or holder of occupational license or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5542 by Schatzline relating to eligibility of a person to serve as a sheriff for the Subcommittee on County Regional Government. HB 5543 by Meyer relating to creating a private cause of action for bad faith claims of patient infringement for the Committee of Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5544 by Van Diva relating the provision of prosthetic devices for certain Medicaid recipients for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5545 by LaHood relating the consideration of the wage replacement benefits and the nature of workers' compensation for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5546 by Frank relating the realignment of the reports due dates under the Health and Safety Code or for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5547 by Schatzline relating the prosecution of punishments of the offense of trafficking of persons for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5548 by Wilson relating prohibiting certain food additives being included in primary and secondary schools for the Committee of Public Education. HB 5549 by Kissman relating regulation and planning on the on-site sewer disposal system for the Committee on Environmental Regulation. HB 5550 by Schatzline relating the role of jury for the criminal case or for the Committee of Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5551 by Moody relating the appointment of the attorneys ad valorem and the compensation of certain attorneys ad valorem in the suits affecting the parent-child relationship filed by a government entity or for the Subcommittee on Premium Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5552 by Placer relating to the lead in drinking water at public schools or for the Committee of Public Education. HB 5553 by O'Connor relating discipline in public schools or for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5554 by Smithy relating the operation and management of the Panhandle Plains Historical Museum by the Texas Commission or for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HB 5555 by Vizuina relating to municipal utility districts limiting the rate of tax or for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5556 by Alders relating the waivers permitting non-certified drivers to operate in partnership with the state-certified emergency medical personnel or for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5557 by Rodriguez Ramos relating to periodic compensation comprehensive forensic and efficiency audits of the State Border Security additives and the enforcement of audit recommendations for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5558 by Zwiener relating the Board of Directors for certain public utility agencies or for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5559 by Harris relating the enforcement of the drought contingency plans by water and sewage utilities and the Public Utility Commission of Texas or for the Committee of Natural Resources. HB 5560 by Harris relating the penalties in certain suits involving groundwater conservation districts for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5561 by Money relating diversion of certain foster youth for the juvenile justice system, including thorough emergency behavior intervention by certain persons of providing foster care services or for the Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. HB 5562 by Bowers relating the authority of certain municipalities to receive certain tax revenue derived by a hotel and convention center project to pledge certain tax revenue to the payment of obligations related to the project for the Subcommittee on or for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5563 by Kissman relating the overnight parking of commercial motor vehicle by certain residential subdivisions or for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5594 by Thompson relating the grand jury proceedings providing a punishment for the contempt of court for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5565 by Canales relating the creation of the Office of Independent Oversight Ombudsman for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for the Committee on Corrections. HB 5566 by Thompson relating the grand jury proceedings for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5567 by Dale relating the methods of subdivision of the business filings for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5568 by Darby relating the geothermal energy conservation wells for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5569 by Troxco relating the safety standards and emergency operation plans for the Operation Battery Energy Storage for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5570 by Kissman relating minimum continuing legal education requirements for the attorney serving as a state official appointed by the governor and combined by the Senate or for the Committee of Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5571 by Rodriguez Ramos relating the review, audit, and oversight of the Texas Education Agency admissions of open enrollment in charter schools by the Sunset Advisory Commission for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5572 by Troxler relating the energy storage facilities for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5573 by Bojani relating the fraud and waste for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5574 by Berry relating the membership of the Texas Groundwater Protection Committee for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5575 by Berry relating the publication of the Texas Groundwater Protection Committee Annual Report for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5576 by Darby relating the creation of the best management practices and the certain requirements of the design, construction, and operation and certain wind and solar power facilities in the state or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5577 by Shofter relating designation of State Highway 315 by the Hamney Webb Memorial Highway or for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5578 by Darby relating notice to public hearing with the Board of Directors in the Appraisal District which consider the Appraisal District budget or for the Subcommittee on Property Tax Appraisals. HB 5579 by Troxler relating the state compensation percentage in the state school district's maximum compressed tax rate under the public school finance system for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5580 by Spiller relating the agreements between sheriffs and the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement to enforce federal immigration law for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5581 by Reynolds relating the creation of Oversight Advisory Council on the Foster Care Placement for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5582 by Troxler relating to the designation and the design build method for the certain government and construction projects or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5583 by Shofner relating to Medicaid coverage and the reimbursement of the doula services referred to the Committee on Human Services. HB 5584 by Lowe relating the immunity and liability for the suit of the public school or the public school professional employee for the prosecution of certain criminal conduct involving a student or for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5585 by Bryant relating the authority of certain persons to bring an action in a declaratory judgment under the open meetings of law of public information regarding the compliance of the action of the governmental body or for the Committee of Delivery of Government Efficiency. HB 5586 by Leo Wilson relating to certain meetings of the Board of Directors of the Texas Windstorm Insurance Association for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5587 by Leo Wilson relating to the deadline of the manual rating filing of the Texas Windstorm Insurance Association for the Committee on Insurance. HB 5588 by Harrison relating to the exemption of ad valorem taxation of the total appraised value of the real property used by the data center and tangible personal property used by the data center met data center's demand for the energy or for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5589 by Leo Wilson relating the review and revision of essential knowledge and skills for the science curriculum by the State Board of Education for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5590 by Harris relating the cost of overage exemption for the interconnection of advanced nuclear reactions to the ERCOT transmission systems or for the Committee on State Affairs.
HB 5591 by Bowers relating to opioid overdose training for peace officers for the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs. HB 5592 by A. Davis of Dallas relating to the state auditing in institutions of higher education on complying to certain uses of funds appropriated by the legislature for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5593 by Swanson relating to the eligibility of an individual to adopt or foster a child for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5594 by Little relating to the prohibition of certain housing discrimination related to brokerage services for the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5595 by Hook relating to the determination by the best interest of the child in possession of or for access to a child by a non-parent or certain suits affecting a parent-child relationship for the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5596 by Leo Wilson relating to the calculation of the voter approval tax rate for certain municipalities that receive municipal hotel occupancy tax revenue for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5597 by Leo Wilson relating to the definition of a Galveston County port for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5598 by Bryant relating to the minimum wage and requirement for a biennial study and report of the living wage in this state, expanding access to child care and providing paid parental leave for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5599 by Isaac relating to the water conservation and reclamation equipment installed in recreational vehicles for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5600 by McLaughlin relating to the development and expansion of the clean hydrogen production, distribution, and reutilization in the state for the Committee on Energy Resources. HB 5601 by Phelan relating to the conditioning the implementation of school choice program on federal reimbursement of the state expenses relating to securing the border for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5602 by Troxler relating to the authority of a political subdivision to use public money to provide legal services for individuals unlawfully present in the United States for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5603 by Phelan relating to the requirement for the Texas Department of Transportation to disclose certain service contract information and provide notice regarding certain changes to the contract for the Committee on Transportation. HB 5604 by Anchio relating to the access by a certificated provider by the right-of-way and poles of an electronic cooperative for the Subcommittee on Telecommunications and Broadband for HB 5605 by Troxler relating to the public water systems in rural counties for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5606 by Wilson relating to a sick day pool of school employees in the state for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5607 by Meyer relating to establishing a procedure for the Department of Family and Protective Services to respond to and issue findings on reports of abuse or neglect made by certain professionals for the Committee on Human Services. HB 5608 by Goodwin relating to the certain requirements regarding persons with disabilities enrolled in public institutions of higher education for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5609 by Guillen relating to boil water notices issued by public drinking water supply systems for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5610 by LaHood relating to access to and use of of certain criminal history record information by the Texas Funeral Service Commission for the Committee on Public Health. HB 5611 by Oliverson, relating to the authority of an emergency service district to provide preventative health care services for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5612 by Bella Montgomery, relating to a state preemption to certain municipal and county regulation for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5613 by Toth, relating to the electioneering near a polling place, creating a criminal offense for the Committee on Elections. HB 5614 by Bojani, relating to providing free full day pre-kindergarten for certain children for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5615 by Rose, relating to the establishment of a grant program for preventing violence and substance abuse in public schools for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5616 by Howard, relating to the Texas Presidential Library Promotion Program and Fund for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HB 5617 by Morales and Maverick, relating to the utilization of the Texas Energy Fund to support dispatchable electric generation using treated fluid oil and gas waste for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5618 by Garcia Bear, relating to a franchise tax credit for taxable entities that pay the expenses of or provide paid leave to an employee who donates an organ for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5619 by Wilson, relating to extending the Hazelwood Exemption Act to active duty members for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5620 by Darby, relating to a criminal associate judge in Concho, Irion Runnels, Scheisler, Sterling, and Tom Green counties, refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5621 by Dutton, relating to the jurisdiction of a district and county attorneys to prosecute certain consumer protection violations, for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5622 by Pursuit, relating to prohibiting a private employer from adopting or enforcing certain vaccine mandates, authorizing administrative penalty, refer to the Committee on Trade, Workforce, and Economic Development. HB 5623 by Y. Davis of Dallas, relating to the provision of loans on grants for the Texas Energy Fund for certain energy efficiency projects for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5624 by Buckley, relating to the liability of a motorized off-road vehicle entity for injuries arising from certain activities for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5625 by Perez of El Paso, relating to the authority of certain municipalities and local government corporations to use certain tax revenue for certain qualified projects for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5626 by Garcia Bear, relating to the right of an employee to unpaid leave to donate an organ or bone marrow or to receive an organ or bone marrow transplant for the Subcommittee on Workforce. HB 5627 by Capriglione, relating to the creation of the Texas Commission on Public School Teacher Retirement Funding Transparency, for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5628 by Garcia Bear, relating to the best interest of a child in a suit affecting the parent-child relationship, for the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5629 by Wilson, relating to the occupational licensing of military spouses, for the Subcommittee on Defense and Veterans Affairs. HB 5630 by Allen, relating to the authority of a court to order a defendant to engage in certain alternatives to confinement as a part of the defendant's sentence, for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5631 by Wilson, relating to public institutions of higher education's orientation on the institution's sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking policy, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5632 by Guillen, relating to the change of beneficiary by a retiree of the employee's retirement system of Texas, for the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HB 5633 by Guillen, relating to the operation of Texas backup power packages, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5634 by Gervin Hawkins, relating to the authority of certain municipalities and local government corporations to the use of certain tax revenue for certain qualified projects, for the Committee on Ways and Means. HB 5635 by Zwiener, relating to the use, curation, and censorship of library materials at public libraries, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5636 by Garcia Bear, relating to the reporting of information regarding high school performance acknowledgments earned by public school students, for the Committee on Public Education. HB 5637 by Garcia Bear, relating to the provision of family protective services by the Texas Indigent Defense Commission, for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5638 by Garcia Bear, relating to establishing a pilot program to hire assistant veterans county service officers in certain counties, for the Subcommittee on Defense and Veterans Affairs. HB 5639 by Garcia Bear, relating to a veteran housing program established by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, for the Committee on Corrections. HB 5640 by A. Davis of Dallas, relating to scholarships and grants awarded by public institutions of higher education, for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5641 by Garcia Bear, relating to a grant program for nonprofit children theaters to increase the accessibility to their facilities, for the Committee on Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. HB 5642 by Garcia Bear, relating to the disclosure of information regarding a transfer on the death deed and certain residential real property transactions, for the Subcommittee on Family and Fiduciary Relationships. HB 5643 by Kane, relating to the production, sale, distribution, delivery, and regulation of hemp, creating a criminal offense, imposing a tax, for the Committee on State Affairs. HB 5644 by Plisa, relating to a mass violence care fund to assist victims of mass violence with unreimbursed medical expenses, for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. HB 5645 by Holt, relating to the term of the chair of a county ethics Ethics Commission for the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5646 by Wilson relating to in-state tuition for certain students and military-related programs for the Committee on Higher Education. HB 5647 by Police relating to a one-time cash payment to certain residents of the state for the Committee on Appropriations. HB 5648 by Gates relating to the creation of the Fort Bend County Water Control and Improvement District Number 13, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessments, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5649 by Munoz relating to the jurisdiction of a county court at law in Hidalgo County for the Committee on Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence. HB 5650 by Flores relating to the creation of the Travis County Municipal Utility District Number 40, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessments, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5651 by Metcalf relating to the creation of the Montgomery County Water Control and Improvement District Number 7, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessments, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5652 by Metcalf, relating to the creation of the Montgomery County Municipal Utility District Number 258, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessments, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5653 by Luther, relating to the composition of the Juvenile Board of Grayson County for the Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. HB 5654 by Metcalf, relating to the creation of Montgomery County Municipal District Number 263, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessment, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5655 by Gates, relating to the creation of the Fort Bend County Water Control and Improvement District Number 13, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessment, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5656 by Lalani, relating to the creation of the Fort Bend County Municipal Utility District Number 263, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessments, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5657 by Isaac, relating to the boundaries of and validating certain acts and proceedings of the Driftwood Conservation District for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5658 by Patterson, relating to the creation of the Craver Ranch Municipal Management District Number 1, providing the authority to issue bonds, providing the authority to impose assessments and fees, granting limited power of eminent domain for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5659 by Dean, relating to the procedural requirements applicable to certain water-related transactions involving the Northeast Texas Municipal Water District for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5660 by Munoz, relating to the dissolution of the El Milagro Management District for the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs. HB 5661 by Gates, relating to the creation of the Fort Bend County Municipal Utility District Number 286, granting a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessment, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5662 by Gates, relating to the power, duties, and authorities to issue bonds of the Fort Bend County Water Control and Improvement District Number 12, related to roads for the Committee on Natural Resources. HB 5663 by Hefner, relating to the authority of the Wood County Central Hospital of District, Wood County, Texas, to provide brain and memory care services to residents of the hospital district through the creation and operation of brain and memory healthcare service districts, referred to the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5664 by Hefner, relating to the operation of Wood County Central Hospital District in Wood County, Texas, referred to the Subcommittee on County and Regional Government. HB 5665 by Kitzman, relating to the creation of the Waller County Municipal Utility District Number 70, granted a limited power of eminent domain, providing authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessment, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HB 5666 by Oliverson, relating to the creation of the Fence Road Municipality District of Harris County, granting a limited power for eminent domain, providing the authority to issue bonds, providing authority to impose assessment, fees, and taxes for the Committee on Land and Resource Management. HJR 201 by Zwiener, proposing a constitutional amendment requiring full payment of civil penalties imposed by the Texas Ethics Commission to be eligible to hold certain public elective offices for the Committee on State Affairs. HJR 202 by Phelan, proposing a constitutional amendment to provide an exemption from ad valorem taxation of the total market value of the real property for which the ad valorem tax has been prepaid, and to establish the prepaid property tax trust fund must provide annual distributions to political subdivisions affected by exemption for the Committee on Ways and Means. HJR 203 by Wilson, proposing a constitutional amendment establishing the Texas Healthcare Workforce Education Fund to provide funding to eligible institutions of higher education to address Texas healthcare workforce needs and derive state economy for the Committee on Higher Education. HJR 204 by Tallarico, proposing a constitutional amendment prohibiting the legislature from restricting an individual's access to abortion and related health care for the Committee on State Affairs. HJR 205 by Tallarico, proposing a constitutional amendment establishing an independent citizen redistricting commission to redistrict the Texas legislature, Texas congressional districts, and State Board of Education districts, and revising procedures of redistricting for the Committee on Redistricting. HJR 206 by Tallarico, proposing a constitutional amendment to limit the time that a person may serve as a statewide elected officer in the executive branch for the Committee on State Affairs. HJR 207 by Police, proposing a constitutional amendment to restrict the power of the legislature to mandate unfunded or underfunded costs and requirements on a school district. Further, the Committee on Public Education. HJR 208 by Harrison, proposing a constitutional amendment to limit the time that a person may serve as Speaker of the House of Representatives. Further, the Committee on State Affairs. HJR 209 by Bojani, proposing a constitutional amendment to authorize the legislature to provide for a one-time credit against the ad valorem taxes imposed by a political subdivision on the first property that a person purchases and qualifies as the person's residence homestead, and provide the reimbursement of a political subdivision for the revenue loss incurred as a result of the credit. For the Committee on Ways and Means. HJR 210 by Verdell, proposing a constitutional amendment related to the funding and support of public free schools. For the Committee on Public Education. HJR 211 by Bernal, proposing a constitutional amendment to authorize the legislature to exempt from ad valorem taxation a portion of the market value of tangible personal property a person owns or that is held or used for the production of income. For the Committee on Ways and Means. HJR 212 by Toth, proposing a constitutional amendment concerning limitation on the rate of growth in the state and local appropriations with the return of the over-collected taxpayer money by reducing taxes. For the Committee on Appropriations. HJR 213 by Troxclair, proposing a constitutional amendment to require the supermajority vote to authorize a political subdivision to issue general obligation bonds. For the Committee on Pensions, Investments, and Financial Services. HJR 214 by Fasut, proposing a constitutional amendment to clarify and implement certain provisions governing the impeachment trial, removal from office, and disqualification of public officers. For the Committee on State Affairs. HJR 215 by Schofield, proposing a constitutional amendment to authorize the legislature to provide for a credit against the ad valorem taxes imposed on real property occupied by a person who entered the property without the consent of the owner. For the Committee on Ways and Means. HJR 216 by A. Davis of Dallas, proposing a constitutional amendment allowing a member of the legislature to be employed as a teacher or first responder by a governmental entity while holding a legislative office. For the Committee on State Affairs. HJR 217 by Phelan, proposing a constitutional amendment conditioning the implementation of school choice program on federal reimbursement of state expense relating to securing the border. For the Committee on Public Education. HJR 218 by Y. Davis of Dallas, proposing a constitutional amendment to authorize the use of money from the Texas Energy Fund for energy efficiency projects conducted to the benefit of retail electric consumers. Refer to the Committee on State Affairs. HCR 127 by Lujan, expressing support for the strengthening of our partnership with Taiwan. Refer to the Subcommittee on International Relations. The following resolutions are being referred to the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars. HCR 128 by Paul. The following resolutions by Lujan are being referred to the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars. HR 700, HR 765, HR 766, and HR 781. HR 701 by A. Davis of Dallas. The following resolutions by Hinojosa are being referred to the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars. HR 702 through HR 710 and HR 713 through HR 753. HR 711 by Busey. HR 712 by Meyer. HR 754 by Dyson. HR 755 by Button. HR 756 by Button. The following resolutions by Guillen are being referred to the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars. HR 757 through HR 760, HR 772 and HR 774, and HR 783. HR 762 by Harless, HR 763 by Moody, HR 764 by Lauterbach, HR 767 by Guerra. The following resolutions by Johnson are being referred to the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars. HR 768 and HR 776 through HR 780. The following resolutions by Y. Davis of Dallas are being referred to the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars. HR 69 through HR 771, HR 775 by Campos, HR 782 by Lowe, HR 784 by Hunter, and HR 785 by Howard.
Pursuant to a motion previously adopted, the House stands adjourned till 10 a.m. Tuesday.